It doesn't make sense.
So, Joe, question. What age should a person, if they want to try marijuana or smoke weed, what age is an appropriate age to smoke weed?
Well,
I think you've talked about this before in the past.
I do not think children should be regular users of anything that perturbs your state of consciousness. I don't think they should drink. I don't think they should smoke pot. I don't think they should try acid. I don't think they should do anything. Your mind is in a developing state. There's like real documentation about that. I also think you can't tell kids what to do because they're going to do the opposite of what you tell them to do. You know, what I tell my kids is there are drugs that are very dangerous, and you should be very careful about drugs that are dangerous. Don't take drinks from someone that you don't know. Don't ever take a pill. Don't ever snort something. Don't ever do something where you don't know where it's coming from. There's drugs that are non-toxic and not dangerous and are not going to kill you ever. And you should know which ones they are, and you should know which ones can kill you. And especially today with fentanyl overdoses.
Those videos. Do you see those videos? These guys are walking around like zombies.
Yeah. Well, that's a big factor in the war on drugs. And that's another uncomfortable thing that we have to look at. There is a demand for drugs in this country. And when there's a demand and that drug is illegal, you're going to have criminals that supply that demand. And so then, just like during the Prohibition, where it propped up the organized crime in America, you're propping up the organized crime it's in Mexico, but it's also China, where they're bringing in the fentanyl, they're bringing in the precursors. You have an illegal business, and a business that is overwhelmingly used in this country. I mean, there's so many people that use drugs, and they have to get these drugs. How do they get them? They get them illegally. The only way to fix that is to regulate drugs, is to make them legal, and to make sure they're clean and pure, and have treatment centers and have addiction centers and have places where people can go. There are a bunch of different ways that people can be treated that have addictions. Those methods are often illegal too, like Ibogaine. That's a big one. People that take Ibogaine have a massive, they're like the statistics about people that have had serious addictions to pills and alcohol and all sorts of other things that go on these Ibogaine retreats. The amount of people that get cured of that is huge. It's huge. It's bigger than anything else that we have, yet it's illegal. I think they should institute that in this country. They should do it with people that know how to run these centers and know how to treat people with real counseling, and then educate people on the dangers of these substances that are now legal, but tax them and use that money to fund treatment centers, use that money for education. But what you're going to do is take out the legs of organized crime if you do that.
Well, I think there was a statistic that came out that even with the taxing of weed in California, guys were still selling weed themselves and buying it directly illegally because it was cheaper due to the tax. And so they were still having access to it. So it's kind of like if you look at cigarettes right now, what they're worth, the amount of tax they're putting on cigarettes. So there's a counter argument to that, where if you do tax it, some people are still going to sell it illegally because it's going to be cheaper. Now, the whole thing about education, all of that stuff, that's a libertarian position you're making there. Will it become a national thing? There was a time nobody thought marijuana was going to be legal. And today nobody cares about whether marijuana is legal or not.
Right.
So, I don't know.
But the problem is when things are illegal and there's a demand for those things, criminals sell those things. And then those criminals become insanely powerful and wealthy. And that's what you see in Mexico. That's what you see with the cartels. It's a direct result of the policies of the United States in the war on drugs.
How do you solve it? The whole thing with legalizing it?
Well, you got to tear the Band-Aid off. And that's what scares people, is that there's going to be a lot of problems. There's going to be a lot of people that are addicted. There's going to be a lot of people that overdose. There's going to be a lot of people that die.
Joe, at this